Hi, this is Peter from the DJ Podcast. In this video, we'll be looking at the DAM-1000 from Donner. The DAM-1000 is an audio mixer with 10 inputs, Bluetooth and USB connectivity, and onboard effects. The DAM-1000 is marketed towards podcasters, musicians with home studios, and content creators who are budget conscious but also have a little more money to spend. There are a lot of options when it comes to buying an audio mixer. With a regular price of $250 and on sale for as low as $220, the DAM-1000 is priced to compete with similarly featured audio mixers on the market. But is it the right audio mixer for you? I hope this video will help answer that question. Before we go any further, I want to mention that Donner sent me the DAM-1000 to review. This video is not sponsored and I was not paid to make this video. All of the opinions are my own, and no one else reviewed or approved this video before it was published. Now let's get back to the review. When evaluating the features and specifications of an audio mixer like this one, it can be hard to know where to start with all of the buttons, knobs, and connections. I find it useful to start at the beginning of the audio chain, working my way down from the input to the volume control. On the DAM-1000, channels 1 to 4 are all the same. They have XLR and 1/4 inch combo jacks that can take microphone, line, or instrument level signals. Phantom power for XLR connected condenser microphones is available, as well as a 100 Hz low-cut filter. Moving down the mixer, you'll find the gain knobs for controlling the level of the incoming audio signal, and a comp knob to add compression. Below that is the 3-band EQ with knobs for adjusting the high, mid, and low frequencies. Next is the FX knob that controls how much of the audio signal is sent to the effects, and the pan knob for adjusting the balance between left, right, and center. There is also a peak indicator that will light up if the incoming audio signal is too loud. Underneath the channel number label is the mute button, which lights up when pressed, and the level control knob that controls the volume of the outgoing audio signal sent to the main outputs. Channels 5 and 6 have 1/4 inch inputs at line level. Unlike channels 1 to 4, you can choose to use channel 5 by itself with a mono input, or together with channel 6 as a stereo pair. Channels 5 and 6 have most of the controls found on channels 1 to 4, lacking only the comp knob and peak indicator light. Channels 7 and 8 feature the same inputs and controls as 5 and 6. However, there is one additional button labeled USB to 7/8. If you have a device connected via the USB-C port on the back of the DAM-1000, you can send that device's audio output to this channel. The USB connection also sends the main output to whatever device is connected, and does so without the need to download a driver. Channels 9 and 10 are the outliers on this mixer. There are 1/4 inch inputs that you can plug cables into, but I believe the intended purpose of these channels is to use the Bluetooth connection. Similar to channels 7 and 8, there is a BT to 9 and 10 button that when pressed allows you to play back audio from a Bluetooth connected device through these channels. Pairing is done the same way you would with wireless earbuds or a Bluetooth speaker. I was able to quickly connect and play music from my phone without any issues. Unlike the other channels, 9 and 10 are limited in terms of controls. As the effects section of the DAM-1000 takes up much of the room where you would otherwise find controls for these channels, only pan, mute, and level are available. Skipping over the effects section for a moment, the mixer's main outputs are on the top right, with both XLR and 1/4 inch connections. There is an additional 1/4 inch connection for the headphones output. Below the effects section is the headphones volume knob, the main output mute button, and level for the main output. Here the level control is adjusted with a fader instead of a knob. Now let's talk about the effects. There are 24 effect presets, each with a corresponding number assigned to them, and the numbers shown on the 7-segment displays tell you which preset is active. To change the active preset, you turn the program knob until you reach the number that matches the preset that you want, and then you press down on the program knob to switch to that preset. To send audio into the effects processor, turn the effects knob on the corresponding channel from left to right. Next, move the effects level fader up to send the effects return signal to the main outputs. Finally, the effect preset can be adjusted using the parameter knob. Be aware that while the parameter knob is labeled off to max, it seemed to be more like min to max in my testing, with a very small amount of the effect still being applied when the parameter knob was in the off position. Here are a few examples of the different effect presets. Now I want to highlight a few of the smaller details on the DAM-1000 that I like. First, the small round buttons are actually two colors. When you look at them from an angle, you can easily tell if they are pressed down. If you see one color, the button is pressed. If you see two colors, the button is not pressed. Second, you can lock the power adapter in place. This is a feature that you tend to only see on more expensive equipment and prevents you from accidentally disconnecting the power. Lastly, most of the knobs with U markings at the top have a center notch that indicates when you have turned the knob to the fully vertical position. You don't have to guess if the knobs are in the exact right position or not. The only knobs with U markings that do not have the center notch are the gain knobs on channels 1 to 4. I assume that the center notch is absent due to those inputs working at different audio levels, so I won't hold this against the DAM-1000. Overall, there's a lot to like, but no product is perfect. There are some areas where I feel there is room for improvement. Let's start by talking about the DAM-1000's size. I think the product would be better if it was bigger. My main complaint about the size is that there is not a lot of space between the knobs, even for someone with average-sized hands. This issue isn't unique to the DAM-1000. Other audio mixers have this problem too. However, the DAM-1000 doesn't need to be small and portable if it is intended to be used on a podcast set or in a home studio. Making it a little bit bigger and spreading out the knobs would improve the usability of the sound controls, potentially even making the DAM-1000 suitable for use in a live environment. As it is now, you will most likely set and forget the sound controls to match what you connected to the inputs. The second area of improvement that I'd like to see is in the user manual. While I don't expect to see block diagrams in a manual for a product of this price, it could have more information, especially as the DAM-1000 is targeted at buyers who are most likely buying their first audio mixer. For example, descriptions of the 24 effect presets would be a good addition. How else are you supposed to know what the differences are between chorus 1 and 2, or delay 1, delay 2, and delay 3? The final area with room for improvement are the mute buttons. They feel and sound springy when you press them down, and may be ever so slightly too tall. If you push down on the buttons near the edges, there is a possibility that the button press won't register. I recognize that this is a minor issue, but it does contribute to the feel of using the product. That leads us to the big question: who should consider buying the DAM-1000 and who shouldn't? I'll start with who shouldn't consider buying this. If you need an inexpensive audio mixer with only a few channels, or a more professional audio mixer with complex routing options, this isn't the mixer for you. If you are producing a podcast with a few hosts who will always sit in the same place and use the same microphones, and bring on a guest every now and then, this could be a good option for you. The DAM-1000 could also be a good option for you if you have a home studio and want to plug in many different instruments, but don't necessarily need to record them separately. In this scenario, I am thinking about the DAM-1000 as an audio interface, where you can switch between many inputs but are limited to recording one at a time. I hope that you now have the information needed to determine whether or not the DAM-1000 is the right audio mixer for you. If you have any questions about my experience using the DAM-1000 while making this review, or feel that I didn't cover a particular aspect of the product, please let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching this video from the DJ Podcast. See you next time.